my contact with alien beings, also known as UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, is it hasn't ended. This is something I can pursue whenever I want. As of lately, I just haven't cared to pursue it. As to why I can, I mean, the reason is because I'm just the best. I'm being serious. Look at me versus look at you. I mean, are you trying to contact aliens versus me? Anyways, I'll start with my most interesting experience. Honestly, I have 5 experiences which are, like, interesting. And then a countless where I've just seen a UFO. But I'll start with the most visual one. So I was in the car with somebody. I was in a car and I looked out the window and I saw this bright white light just appear in the sky, like a star, but a lot brighter and almost more brilliant. It was a perfect white, and out of this white came a black cloth-like object. So out of the light came another light, and then between the two lights spanned a cloth object. So one was stationary and one was coming out of it. Then the stationary light moved, so it was like this cloth had stretched itself out and appeared out of air. It was like a metallic cloth, and it was black. It was a very black. And I feel like it sort of had a shimmer to it, like metal, but I don't know, because it was kind of far away. But it was big. It was like big as a house, as big as like a trailer home, maybe. Yeah. And this was like a couple 100 feet away from me. And it danced around the sky. It did all kinds of stuff. This was above a Walmart, sort of a business park in a small town. Well, not that a small town has a Walmart, but you know. And then it shapeshifted. It turned orange. So it just, I don't know, the black cloth aspect of it went away, and it turned orange, and it did these bizarre, it actually came down to the ground. It passed in front of a building. It came down to the ground, and then it did this motion that I can still remember. It went whoosh, whoosh. Like it did these 2 curves and made like a 3 in the air, and then it became stationary, and then it didn't disappear. It sort of slowly snuffed out of existence, like it was being sucked through a straw in another dimension, which I think is probably exactly what did happen to it. Yeah, so that's experience number 1, and that kind of, it almost shook me up for a second there, but after that I got used to it. All right, let's go to, and honestly these aren't even in any order. I'm not putting them in order. Number 2, oh, this one is cool. I saw a plane flying over me. It was at night. So I saw the light pattern of a plane, but I didn't see the plane because it was at night. So, you know, I saw those lights in the sky. And something told me that ain't right. Like, that's not a plane. It's too silent. It's too close to the ground. It's moving at the wrong speed relative to how close it looks. So I just looked at it with this sort of angry glare, and I pointed at it, and I followed it with my finger. And it effed off after that. It turned its lights off one by one. It utterly and completely disappears. Think about planes for a second. How loud are they? I never heard a sound from it. It disappeared. Made no sound. Yeah, so that's that. I mean, yeah. Alright, next one. Same location. Actually, all of these have occurred they occurred in the same location in a short period of time, because I was kind of actively seeking them out. Alright, so I was out in my backyard in the winter with a telescope. It was a crappy telescope, but I was trying to look at Jupiter and look at the moons around it. There's more about Jupiter, I'll get back to that, but that's not the focus of this story. A UFO flies overhead. It's the typical orange orb. The typical orange orb. I've seen so many of them. Just like the one in my initial story. That was the first time I really, really saw one. Although when I was a little kid, I saw an orange orb before, but no. So a UFO flew over my head. And I pointed my, well, it was like high in the sky. It was kind of high in the sky. And I pointed my telescope at it, and as soon as my telescope looked at it, it like sent out a flare, and then it was gone. It was the fastest I've ever seen one disappear. It sent out this sort of, a white flare, and I looked at the flare instead of the UFO. And when I tried to look back at the UFO, it was gone. So I feel like that's a sort of militaristic aspect of these things. I've had like close encounters, but that was not even my closest encounter. That was sort of there was a fearful reaction from it, I think. Because I think that probably was a piece of military kit from another species. It was another species. That's what it was biologically. All right, next one. This one is when it gets deep. Okay, this one is real. I was outside, metal detecting, yeah, I was just outside metal detecting by a river. I was in a town, same town. And I sit down and I want to summon a UFO. So I sit down and I'm like, man, I wish I could see a UFO right now. I'm bored. And and then suddenly this really distinct, this differentness washes over me. A sedation. Not, yeah, it was like a sedation, but not really a stupor. It was kind of just a. I was just taking everything easier. And, I felt cared for. I felt cared for, and as soon, within seconds of feeling that, I saw probably the brightest and lowest flying one I've ever seen, because this was daytime. This was in the day, okay? Like, totally in the day. And I saw a bright, amorphous orange orb move across the sky slowly. And I followed it and saw where it was going. This is the craziest part of everything I'm telling you. So Jupiter was visible in the sky at this time. Jupiter was in the sky. And from my perspective specifically, literally only my perspective, this orange orb passes in front of Jupiter, and there's nothing of it after that. It disappears while it's in front of Jupiter from my perspective. What it did was called occulting. It occulted with Jupiter. I wonder why that's the word for it. I saw a literal occult object in an occult event do something called occulting. Isn't that fun? Jupiter is where this interstellar visitor 3I Atlas is actually headed to right now, if you know what that is. I'm sure you've heard of it, the interstellar asteroid in the solar system, which is launching directed rocket jets, and we can see it in order to change its position. Yeah, so I guess Jupiter is an interesting place everyone should keep tabs on, or research, look into. So yeah, it passes in front of Jupiter, and that's that, and I walk home. I don't see anything else of it after that. All right, next one. I'm with another person. I am with another person. I'm sitting down watching the 4th of July fireworks. And of course, there were no fireworks actively in the sky at this point. Like, it was before it had started. And I just suddenly look in the sky and I point to a completely random place and I say, a UFO is about to appear. And then what happens? Within literally 2 seconds, there is a bright white flash of light in the exact spot I pointed to. Did I predict it? I don't know. Was I told to do that? Figure that out for yourself. Why did I do that? Why did that happen? I pointed to the sky, said a UFO is going to appear, and there was a white flash of light, which is, by the way, how they appear. That is how the orange orbs appear. If they're not like coming out of the ocean or something, if they're like, I don't know. That's how some orange orbs appear. I've heard they come out of the ocean, but I've seen them appear in the sky, travel in a linear line, and then disappear in a white flash of light. Oh yeah, in the one where I was metal detecting, I'm going to go back to that. So I was metal detecting, and I saw the orange orb. I pointed my metal detector at it, and I pressed the button because I wanted to send it a signal. Because the metal detector, it produces a very penetrating signal that should get through the air and reach it with the odd emission that a metal detector makes. It like launches some type of particle, and it broke. It never worked again after that. It was working just fine. I had used it several times, and it just broke right then and there. It was disabled. All right, what next? What next? Oh yeah, so this was in a different town, and I decided to look up at the sky again, and I see something that kind of resembles a UFO because it was orange and it wasn't a plane, and it felt like it was kind of flying low. And I check flight radar. I have a flight radar to make sure that these things aren't just planes. So I start recording it with my phone, and I said, yeah, I think this is a UFO right now. I'm going to see if it makes that flash of light. And it never did, but it did something else. I said while I was recording it, the orange color is unanimous, or the orange color is ubiquitous among these things. Ubiquitous. They're always orange when they're doing this. In the moment I said that, it turned bright white. Yes, it turned bright. It amplified its brightness significantly. And this is on video. Show us the video. Well, currently, the U.S. state has my phone. They made up a completely fake warrant based off of evidence that they never provided me. Yeah, they had a warrant to take my phone, but it's just one they came up with. Okay. And they did other things too. They came to my room and they made me tell them what the purpose of every little bit of trash on my floor was, every symbol I had drawn, all of the math I had done in my notebook. Made me explain why I had like numbers here. Like, what do these numbers mean? Why'd you draw this picture? What do these symbols mean? So yeah, and they still have my phone. They've had it for like a month now. Yeah, anyway, so I can't post that. Alright, let's see, what else do I have? I feel like I might have like one more story. No, that might be it. Oh yeah, how do I feel about all this? I feel nothing. Like, if you knew what it was like to actually be me and to be mentally what I am, okay, you'd understand why I don't really care that I'm communicating with aliens. To the point where I know I could do it, but I've kind of stopped. I think since I don't really have anything to do and I'm kind of bored of everything, I might try again in more sophisticated ways. Like making crop circles for them to see. Like tracing patterns in the snow is what I mean. So I might try doing that. But yeah, as of lately, I haven't cared at all. Okay, I really don't have much else to say. I mean, I exist. I'm an alien. That's a fact I have to grapple with every day. That's the truth. I don't even seek anything from them.